Okay, so you've got this killer product, right? Like it's ready to go. You think it's going to change the world. But how do you actually make it stand out? I mean, there's just so much noise out there these days.
Yeah.
It feels like every day there's a million new things competing for our attention.
Right.
How do we cut through all that?
Well, that's what we're going to dive into today. This is where Bernadette Jiwa's The Fortune Cookie Principle comes in.
Ooh, I love that title.
Right. It's so catchy.
So we're using this book as our main source material today.
Yeah, we're going to use it to help you build a brand story that really grabs people.
A story that makes them say, I need that.
Exactly. And Jiwa uses this really interesting analogy of a fortune cookie. Have you ever thought about that?
Like, what's more important, the cookie or the fortune inside?
Yeah, sometimes the cookie's just okay.
Yeah, you eat it and you're like, eh.
But then that little slip of paper with the message.
Ooh, that's the part you remember.
Right, that's the part that sticks with you.
Yeah.
So that's your brand story.
Okay, I'm hooked already.
Uh,
This is good.
so how do we make sure our fortune is the part people crave?
Yeah, because it's tempting to just focus on making the best product possible.
Right, and the book actually argues that's not enough anymore.
Really?
Yeah, it's about more than just having the best features or the highest quality.
It's about the feeling you get from a brand.
Yes, the experience, the story you weave around it.
So it's like those Razor subscription services, right?
Exactly. Jiwa uses that example. On the surface, it's just Blade's convenient delivery.
But there are like a million of those.
I know, my bathroom cabinet is
Me
overflowing.
too. So what's the secret sauce? What makes one stand out from the rest?
It's about tapping into something deeper. What does your Razor subscription represent? Is it about empowering women to take charge of their self-care?
Ooh, I like that.
Or is it about effortless style for the busy professional? That's the kind of fortune that resonates.
It's not just about shaving, it's about feeling confident. Okay, so it's less about the Razor's features and more about the feeling someone gets when they use it. But how do we actually pinpoint that feeling and that story for our own brand?
Well, Jiwa points to purpose as the foundation.
Oh, here we go. Purpose-driven. That gets thrown around a lot these days.
I know, right? But think of it this way. Why does your business exist beyond just making a profit?
Like, what problem are you solving in the world? Even in a small way.
Yeah. What impact do you want to make?
That reminds me of the Lego example in the book.
Oh, yeah. They were struggling for a while, weren't they?
Yeah, until their new CEO, Jorgen Wignubstorp, came in.
And what did he do?
He shifted the focus back to their core purpose, inspiring creativity in children.
Bam. Suddenly it wasn't just plastic bricks.
It was a gateway to imagination.
And parents loved that.
Oh, totally. Because it wasn't just a toy. It was like an investment in their child's development.
Exactly. That's the power of purpose. It injects soul into your product.
Makes you feel good about buying it.
Right, so think about this. What makes you passionate about what you do?
Ooh, good question.
What impact do you want to leave behind? That's a great starting point for uncovering your why.
I have to admit, I'm already rethinking some of my own projects.
Yeah.
But okay, let's say we've nailed down our purpose. Is that the whole story?
It's a good start, but there's more. Purpose is the foundation, but then you need a vision.
Vision. Like, where are we going with all this?
Exactly. Where do you see your brand going in the long term? It's like having a North Star guiding your journey.
Okay, I can see that.
The book uses Room to Read as an example. Their vision is a world where all children have access to quality education.
Wow, that's ambitious.
It is, but it fuels everything they do. It gives them direction.
But sometimes your vision can change over time, right?
Absolutely. Like, look at Airbnb. They started with a very specific idea, helping people find lodging during conferences.
Right. Who knew it would transform how we travel entirely?
It's amazing. So vision can evolve as your business grows.
So it's about having that long-term goal, but being open to new opportunities along the way.
Exactly. Think big. Imagine the impact you want to make. That's your vision taking shape.
Okay, this is all great, but I have another question. Where do values fit into all of this? Every brand seems to have values these days.
They do, but values are crucial. The key is authenticity.
You mean they can't just be words on a website?
Exactly. They need to guide your actions and decisions. They need to be real.
Like walk the walk, not just talk the talk.
Exactly. Think about Patagonia's Don't Buy This Jacket campaign.
What? That's crazy.
It was a bold move, but it resonated because it aligned perfectly with their values of sustainability and environmentalism.
It got people's attention, that's for sure.
And it showed they meant what they said.
It's so easy to fall into the trap of saying the right things without actually living them out. you know?
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's like that analogy Jiwa uses of the local cafe losing its soul.
Oh yeah, that one really hit home for me.
You start cutting corners, chasing trends instead of staying true to what made you special.
Customers notice that.
They can feel it.
It's like you've lost your authenticity.
Exactly. So, what are your non-negotiables? What values would you defend, even if it meant less profit?
Ooh, good one.
Those are the ones that build genuine connections.
I need to think about that one. Okay, so we've got purpose, vision, values. How does all that translate into the actual tangible parts of business?
Well, Jiwa argues that everything should flow from these core elements, even your physical location.
Really? Even something as basic as that?
Think about it. She uses the example of a cozy community cafe. Now imagine that same cafe plopped down in the middle of a glitzy, high-end shopping district.
Surrounded by designer boutiques.
Exactly. It just wouldn't feel right.
It would feel out of place, almost inauthentic.
Exactly. So even your location choice needs to reflect your brand's deeper story.
Okay, I see that. And what about
Yeah.
content, like social media, all that stuff?
Same thing. Website, copy, social media, posts, even product descriptions, everything should tell a consistent story.
So if your visuals are sleek and minimalist, but your tone is goofy and casual?
It sends mixed messages. People won't know what to make of you.
I'm thinking about some of the mismatched marketing I've seen. That makes me cringe.
Yeah, me too. Like that example in the book of the bakery that tried to use overly formal language in its ads.
Oh yeah, they were trying too hard.
They alienated their whole target audience.
It backfired big time.
Yeah.
So it's about knowing your audience and speaking their language.
Absolutely. Take a moment to think about all the ways you communicate with your customers, from emails to packaging.
Oh wow, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Are they all telling the same story?
Good question, right?
It's kind of overwhelming when you think about it. But this is good stuff. This is making me think.
It's about digging deeper, going beyond the surface level.
Yeah, I feel like I'm finally thinking about branding in a way that really matters.
That's what's so fascinating about this book. It pushes you to understand the soul of your brand.
This is just the tip of the iceberg, isn't it?
She's got so much more to unpack.
Let's keep this conversation going.
There's so much more to uncover, right? It's all about going deeper than just those surface level things and figuring out what really makes your brand tick.
I'm all in.
Yeah.
But honestly, the whole idea of like crafting this compelling brand story
Yeah,
can be a little daunting, you know?
I get it. Where do you even start?
Right. It feels like a lot.
Well, Jiwa offers some practical advice in the book.
Okay, good.
She really emphasizes starting with your why. And I know we talked about purpose earlier,
Yeah.
but she takes it a step further. Like before you even think about your brand story,
Okay.
you need to really understand your own personal motivations.
So it's like getting really honest with myself. Why am I doing this? What's the deeper story behind my brand?
Yes, it's that personal passion that's going to fuel your brand story and make it authentic.
It's got to come from a real place.
Exactly. So once you figured that out, then you can start building a narrative that aligns with your values and aspirations.
Okay, so let's say I've done some soul searching and I've got my why figured out. What's next?
Jiwa suggests thinking about your ideal customer.
The person I'm trying to reach.
Exactly. Who are they? What are their needs, their desires? What do they aspire to?
Because ultimately my brand story is about connecting with those people on an emotional level.
Right. You need to show them that you get them. You understand their pain points, their dreams.
And that you have something valuable to offer.
Yes. The better you understand your target audience, the better you can craft a story that truly resonates with them.
This is making sense now. It's all about connection.
It is. And I know this can feel kind of overwhelming, especially if you're just starting out.
Yeah.
But your brand story doesn't have to be this grand epic tale.
Sometimes the simplest stories are the most powerful, right?
Absolutely. It's about authenticity, connecting with people on a human level.
Keeping it real.
Jiwa actually encourages us to focus on the small details, the everyday moments that make our brand unique.
So it's not about making up some crazy story. It's about finding the magic in the ordinary.
Exactly. And sharing it with the world.
Okay, I like that. That takes the pressure off.
And don't be afraid to experiment. Your brand story will evolve over time, as you learn more about your audience and what resonates with them.
So it's an ongoing process.
It is. Refinement, adaptation. It never really ends.
That makes me think about how important it is to actually listen to your customers.
Oh, yeah.
Get their feedbacks. Be open to making adjustments. Building a brand isn't just a one-time thing.
It's a conversation.
Exactly. It's a back and forth relationship.
Right. So all this talk about storytelling might make you think about the practical stuff.
Like, how do we actually communicate this brand story?
Yeah. Jiwa has some tips in the book about aligning your brand name with your story.
Oh, that's interesting because your brand name is like the first thing people see, right?
It's your first impression. It needs to capture their attention and give them a glimpse into what you're all about.
Make them curious?
Exactly. Jiwa suggests asking yourself 3 key questions when choosing a name.
Ooh, lamina me.
Okay, first, what do you want the name to communicate? Second, does it communicate this to both your staff and your customers?
Okay, so far so good. What's the third one?
How does the name make your business stand out in a crowded marketplace?
That's a tough one. There's so many brands out there,
I know, it's a challenge for sure.
but those questions are good. They make you think.
It's not just about picking something catchy or trendy, you know,
It's got to be meaningful.
and aligned with your brand's core essence.
You know, it makes me think about all those companies that go through rebranding.
Oh, yeah. They spend tons of money trying to come up with a new name, a new image.
It's like they've outgrown their old clothes.
Right. But it just shows how important it is to get your brand name right from the start.
Or at least be willing to adapt as your brand evolves.
Exactly. The key is making sure your name is telling the right story.
To both your audience and your team.
Yes. Everyone needs to be on the same page.
So much of this comes down to consistency, right? Making sure everything from your name to your content to your customer service.
Yeah. It's all got to be singing from the same song sheet.
Because that's what builds trust and recognition.
And it makes your brand memorable. Helps you stand out in a sea of competing messages.
Which is the ultimate goal, right?
It is. To create a brand that people remember, connect with, and trust.
A brand that tells a story that resonates with their values and aspirations.
Exactly. And the fortune cookie principle really gives you a roadmap for achieving that.
This has been so eye-opening. I
Yeah.
feel like I have a whole new framework for approaching my brand.
It's about going beyond those surface level tactics.
And really understanding the heart of what makes your brand tick.
Yes. But before we wrap things up, I want to touch on one more thing that really stuck with me.
Okay, what's that?
The idea of a brand as a promise.
Ooh, that's a good one.
It's a powerful concept, and Jiwa comes back to it throughout the book.
Because when you think about it, every interaction someone has with your brand,
From browsing your website to using your product,
it's a chance to either fulfill or break that promise.
every single touch point matters. It's crucial to be intentional about the experience you're creating.
Because at the end of the day, your brand's reputation is built on trust.
And trust is earned by consistently delivering on your promises.
Think about the brands you're most loyal to. Why do you keep coming back to them?
It's a good question.
For me, it's the feeling that they get me. They understand my needs, they value my business, and they always exceed my expectations.
It's like they're speaking directly to you.
And they always deliver on what they promise.
That's the power of a strong brand. It creates a sense of connection and loyalty that goes beyond just the product.
It becomes a relationship built on shared values and trust.
Exactly. This conversation has really been a game changer for me.
Me too. I feel like I have a whole new perspective on my brand now.
And it's a great reminder that building a successful brand is about more than just marketing tricks or clever slogans.
It's about creating something meaningful that resonates with people on a deeper level.
Building relationships. Making promises you can keep.
Beautifully said. But you know, one of the simplest yet most impactful takeaways from the fortune cookie principle is this idea of capturing your brand essence in a single word.
Oh yeah, the one-word challenge.
It sounds so simple, but it's actually really hard.
It is. But it's so powerful. It really forces you to distill everything we've been talking about into a single word.
Your purpose, your vision, your values, your promise, all in one word.
And that word becomes a touchstone for your brand. It guides your decisions and helps you stay true to your core identity.
I love that. It's like a mantra, a guiding principle that you can always come back to.
It is. So for our listeners out there, take a moment and really think about this.
If you had to choose just one word to encapsulate your brand and the story you want to tell, what would it be?
It's a question worth pondering.
It really is. And it's a great way to bring all these insights together.
Into a single focused idea.
This whole deep dive has been so insightful,
We've covered so much ground.
and I feel like we've only just scratched the surface.
There's always more to explore.
Always. But for now, we're going to take a break. So we're back, and I gotta say, I've been thinking about this one-word challenge,
Oh yeah,
and it's tough.
it is. It's harder than it seems.
But I guess that's the point, right? To really make you think about the core of your brand.
Exactly. It forces you to distill everything down to its essence. No fluff.
And I keep thinking back to Jiwa's advice about choosing a company name.
Uh-huh.
She talks about how important it is to pick a name that resonates with both your team and your customers.
Yeah. It's got to work for everyone.
This one-word challenge feels like an extension of that.
How so?
It's like you're getting everyone aligned on this single word
Mm-hmm.
that represents your brand's heart and soul.
I like that. It's like creating a shared language, a shorthand for what your brand stands for.
Exactly. So everyone from your employees to your customers can instantly understand and connect with that one word.
It's powerful stuff.
And the cool thing is it can evolve as your brand evolves.
Oh, absolutely. Brands are living things. They grow, they change.
Just like people.
Exactly. And that evolution should be reflected in your brand story, and maybe even your one word.
So maybe your one word 5 years from now is different than it is today. And that's okay.
It's all part of the journey.
I'm also thinking about how this one word can act as a filter for decision making.
Oh, interesting. Tell me more.
Like when you're considering a new product or a marketing campaign or even a partnership, you can ask yourself, does this align with our one word?
Ooh, I like that. It's a litmus test.
If it doesn't align, maybe it's not the right fit.
It helps you stay focused.
And avoid getting sidetracked by all those shiny objects that don't really matter.
This is smart.
So for our listeners out there, maybe this is something you explore with your team
Yeah. Have a brainstorming session.
or with your mentors or even your customers. It could spark some really interesting conversations.
It could be a game changer for your brand.
Well, this whole deep dive has been amazing.
We've covered so much.
From purpose and vision to storytelling and the one-word challenge.
It's been quite a journey.
And I hope you're walking away feeling inspired.
Ready to take your brand to the next level.
With a clearer vision and maybe even a one word that captures it all.
Remember, building a successful brand is an ongoing process. It's about staying curious, staying true to yourself, and connecting with your audience in a meaningful way.
And never underestimate the power of a good story.
Because that's what people remember. That's what makes them care.
So go out there and tell your story. The world needs to hear it.